Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're reflecting upon Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day. Some people will only recognise the poppy itself and not understand what it means. It's a symbol of remembrance, and this goes back to when the armistice was signed and hostilities ceased in World War One. And the significance of the poppy is that when the fields returned to normal, the first things that grew there were poppies. Fields as far as the eye could see of poppies. And it was reminiscent of all those lives lost. A poppy for every life that had been lost. And so from that day forth, every country, or the majority of countries that are involved in the war, took that as an opportunity to reflect upon what had happened, how many lives had been affected by it. It was also a mark of respect for those that had made the ultimate sacrifice, laid their lives down, whether voluntary or involuntary, hoping to make the world a better place. Since the First World War, there have been other wars. We have World War II and all the hostilities there. We've also had more recent wars as well, and conflicts around the world. And so Armistice Day has migrated to being called Remembrance Day, and the significance of that is it just doesn't focus on the First World War but all other wars and how it affects the world. I think it's important to understand that whilst a lot of people think this is a very military based ceremony, it's not just for military people, it's for anybody, everybody. And the story really needs to be told of how people sacrifice themselves to be passed on to those people that attend or participate in Remembrance Day ceremonies. It's not a religious thing particularly, because we in wars have fought alongside people with other religions and fought unitedly. So it's not necessarily a religious ceremony. However, the important thing is that it is about loss, about the future and the progress of the future. And this is my short story about Remembrance Day. In a few days' time, a lot of people will be congregating in places just like this. This is my local memorial. And on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, people around the world, not just in the UK, will be gathering together in remembrance of all those lives lost and look at the future. It really doesn't matter how you dress for the occasion. The most important thing is to be there. be there in reverence to the occasion, reflect on the people and the stories that you'll hear about those individuals that laid down their lives, whether willingly or involuntary. And let's not forget the civilians that lost their lives in conflicts around the world. In the First World War, we saw the involvement of a lot of animals to support us in our war efforts. Horses in cavalry charges, dogs and pigeons for conveying messages around the battlefield. After the Second World War, we still have a lot of conflict in the world, and to this day we still experience conflicts with Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq. It doesn't end. However, the purpose of today, or days like this, is to reflect and consider what we do differently in the future. Now, where I come from, there's a strong naval heritage, and a lot of seafarers, navy and merchant navy, and they were involved in a lot of conflicts in the First World War and in the Second World War around these waters, and it's only fitting that we look at a memorial that is dedicated to those people and the lives that were lost in the First, Second World War and other conflicts. A lot of people gave up their lives, whether willingly or involuntary, in the First and Second World War in naval conflicts. A lot of the fishermen around here became crew members, and a lot of the trawlers were converted to being minesweepers in the First and Second World War. And not only that, there were a lot of civilian lives lost in this area as well in the First and Second World War. In the First World War, this was one of the first areas to be bombarded by Zeppelin. Here is one of our most recent instalments in the town, and it is to commemorate the First World War and other wars since. It's designed on a poppy theme. The bins are placed there to keep the place tidy. The benches are for people to rest and reflect. You'll notice that some people actually make an effort and place down some commemorative stones. Very good investment in the future. I think it's an important thing to contemplate is the future, and people understanding why we need to remember these things, and why it's important not only for people from the past but also people in the future and where they go and their journey in life. So it's really incumbent upon the people around in this day and age to pass on a message to the young, not only that conflict happens, but people lose their lives, and unfortunately not always willingly, not just military personnel but also civilians. They pay the ultimate price in many cases. So will you be there on the 11th hour of the 11th day on the 11th month to contemplate and reflect on those losses? Take care.